Let me flip this. Okay. So now we should be able to see me standing up. And then my iPad is on the desk. Right here. Can we see that? I can't hear Steve, though. I can't hear anybody because my microphone is muted. So where is the voice coming from? All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Steve? I can't hear Steve.
Steve's on mute.
Steve's mic. Can you hear me now, Steve?
Yes, I can hear you. Sounds good.
Okay. So we're waiting for Diana and Dawn. All right. So what I really wanted to do was to be able to share. Let's see if it works. I want to be able to share my screen with you rather than having. Look, I want to be able to actually put this on the screen. Let's see if this works.
Ooh.
Did it work?
Yes. I think so.
Okay. So the only thing that I can't see when I'm doing this, like you can see me draw, like, you can see that, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the only thing you cannot see is, or I can't see, is everybody. But when someone speaks, I can see them. So I'm going to leave it like that. So let's wait for Dawn and Diana. So I'm going to go back to my Zoom screen here and wait for them to get here.
Will they remember?
I don't know. I am going to give them, I don't know, 30, well, it's already 10:07. So I don't have any more devices to check in with.
I'll look for it, Dawn. I don't know. I don't know Diana. Okay.
Nope, they're not even sending me a message. All right, I'm going to get a dog a biscuit, go check another computer over on the other side of the room, and then we can start.
Okay.
Okay. I hate when something starts late, Steve. My apologies. Technology is always, like, not on my side lately.
So it's when it happens at the last minute, right?
It does, you know, it does. And the echo thing is always different. Like, it never really is the same, so. All right, so first of all, does anybody have any questions from the last time we met?
No, I finally did my thing this morning. Okay, Dawn just said, oh crap, yes, I forgot. Hang on.
Is she gonna show up?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Because I have to flip off this screen in order to get her in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I don't.
I think that sharing my iPad like this is easier.
Who's
Just
Diana?
Diana Mauricio. I don't even see her on Messenger, so.
Mauricio?
Mauricio, Mauricio.
I don't think we're friends. So I can't.
So is Dawn making her way?
Yes. She said, hold on.
She said, hold on.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. How can I send her in?
Lynn, you know what I'm doing?
What?
I'm making you the host.
So what does that do?
It means that when Dawn shows up, you can let her in.
Oh, I've never done that. Okay.
She'll just pop up, just admit her. And then I can start. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Call Lynn, I always give her things to do. Okay. All right, so I thought I could have two hosts, but I guess you can't. And then we can flip it back. All right, so today we're working on a mandala and we're working on just typical line art. But before we start, I do want to just kind of review what we did last time with all the different functions. I thought we could kind of do just a little bit of a quick review. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay. You don't have any questions about what we did last time, Steve?
No,
Okay.
it was pretty straightforward.
All right, so I'm just gonna add a new canvas by clicking on the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner, and then I'm just gonna choose paper, which will give me an 8.5 by 11-inch size paper according to the iPad. And then let's just take a look at what happens over to the side here. So on the left side, we've got this slider, and that.
And can I, how do you get to the, select? Do I select first?
Are you in gallery mode? You're in the gallery? No, not select, the plus sign in the upper.
Plus sign. Okay, got it. Plus
All right.
sign paper?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Got it.
All right, so the two things on the left-hand side are our sliders. The top one is for the brush size, and the bottom one is for the opacity, so whether it's darker or lighter, or opaque or translucent. And then if we click up over on this top section here, we've got the wrench, and that's how we basically start. That's how we start to add different functions to what we're doing. So if we click on add, it would be able to insert a photo. If you click on canvas, we can change what's happening. So it's got all of these different functions that are here. And then that's where we go at the end when we have to save the actual document that we've used, that we've created, or the actual drawing that we've created. Then if you click off that and then go over here to this like magic wand, it brings you to the adjustments panel, which basically adjusts, this is just like when you use maybe the filters on your iPhone or in a computer when you're adjusting a photograph. So same type of things where it adjusts the color or the brightness or the contrast. You can change the color, you can sharpen it. So those are the adjustments to it's similar to what you would adjust to a photograph. And then this little S button brings a menu along the bottom. And this is similar to when you're using like Word, as far as like you want to copy and paste a document, copy and paste an image. This also has a lot of different features in it. If you're familiar, is anyone familiar with using Photoshop? Or a photo? Okay, so how about you, Steve?
No, I don't.
So any type of like for instance, copy. Well, we all know copy and paste. So you're gonna copy something and paste it. Feather means that the image starts to dissipate and it starts to get lighter along the edges. So a little more advanced when it comes. This is more for like photo editing type things. Then when you go up here to this little arrow, this only functions when we have layers. So to get those layers, we have these two little boxes over here in the corner. And the layers allow for whatever happens in that layer to be active. So if you were to have this layer 1, which is already, background color is default as a layer. So here's layer 1. I can draw a number 1. I can go back over here, create a second layer. So does everyone understand how the layers function works?
Yeah, how do you think black?
Up in the right-hand corner, there's a little circle.
Yeah.
Click on that, and it gives you all of the colors, and either black is in a swatch at the bottom. Hang on one second. It's either in a swatch at the bottom or it's in this whole square right here where you can just kind of like move this. See how that's moving? So you want to go to like one of the bottom corners for black. And then what's happening is that you can see these sliders moving over, and this, or you can move the black slider.
Okay.
Okay, so if I go to if I add a second layer and I check off whatever whatever is visible is going to have a check mark. So if I check off this little check mark, click off that, now I see nothing because I'm on layer number 2. Go back to my brush, and here's 2. So if I click on both, I can see both of the layers. If I want to erase something, I can, the only thing that will erase is the layer that is active. So it's, here's layer number 2 is active because it's blue. I can go back in with my eraser, but I won't be able to erase whatever is on layer number 1. You can't see my pen, you can't see my Apple Pencil doing this. That's the only part I don't like about this screen share, but that's, you can't see that unless I click that. That make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Hey, Dawn.
Hey, I made it.
Okay, so now, but Dawn, you've used this before, right? Procreate?
Yeah, I've used it, but I haven't gotten into a lot. I didn't understand the layering
Okay.
at the moment, and you know, there's a lot I still don't understand about it.
So you can create as many layers as you want at all. And you could, this is similar to Photoshop or even Adobe Illustrator, any other type of illustration software like that. You can create layers so that you don't have to worry about whatever you want to erase. So even if you were to do just a simple drawing, I mean, we're going to go over this today, but say you would, so here's my, say this was my frame for my coloring page, which I always frame them like this.
Yeah.
Then I could add another layer on here. So I'm now on layer 3, and this layer of my frame is layer 1. So bring me to layer 3, and now I can draw, say, a circle. The other thing that happens is that if you're adding layers on here, I think it's best to add the layers on using Procreate, because if your hand touches it, like right now, I mean, you could easily wipe that out if your hand were to touch it. Whereas if I don't typically use layers when I'm working with Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, because I'm not touching the screen, so it doesn't really make a difference. But if I want to go back, say I wanted to go back in and just erase a tiny little thing, then I can go back over, adjust my brush size, and I can just kind of make my little eraser so it fits where it needs to go, or you can expand your screen. And even the expansion of the screen and just kind of like making the image bigger so you see exactly what you're doing, that could actually end up making a mark on the page.
Yeah, I know.
So, and then so back over to this little side, on the left hand side we've got this little arrow that's kind of, you know, hooking to the left. I'm using my hand motions, but I'm realizing you can't see my hands right now. Hooking to the left, that's just undo. So it's like the Control Z or Command Z.
I use that a lot.
I use that a lot too. I use that a lot on the computer, to the point where I've gotten to the point where it's like I've used up all my undos.
Okay.
So to the left is the eraser. We talked about that. We talked about the colors here with this little circle with all of the little, with all of the colors. You can change them. I mean, it's got all these different functions at the bottom. I'm just concerning myself with the basic, classic version of it with just the square and the sliders.
Okay.
And then the hand is basically a smudge tool. So if you had a line on there, so here's this line, you could take that smudge tool and you can just kind of smudge it.
Yeah.
Okay? So, where was I here? And then the brushes. So the brush library, we talked about, last week we talked about importing brushes. So there's some floral stamps that I imported where I just kind of downloaded these brushes, imported them into here. And it basically just kind of creates that brush. Oh, maybe my brush size is too much. Yes, it is. There it is. So just by tapping, it kind of creates that flower when you have those types of brushes. So when I'm drawing something, I always go to this inking brush, and then it's just my own personal preference, I guess. I go to Studio Pen. I mean,
I'm not sure what
I've used gel pen, I've used technical pen, but for some reason this is Studio Pen, and if I keep it at its normal, like default brush tip, it's 8%. And I think the default is 80% opacity. So I just like, that's just what I tend to, I just like that one. I don't know why, but I think the Jelinski one was pretty good too. This one right here, Jelinski ink. It was, oh, you know what I don't like about this one? Look at the line width changes.
Depending on
how you press, and how you hold the pen. So Studio Pen is pretty much like, it's pretty consistent. Okay. So last week we worked. How are you doing, Lynn and Steve?
Getting a little dizzy, but okay.
Well, I was just. You mean because I was like going in and out? I'm sorry. Is Steve still with us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if Lynn is dizzy, what happened to Steve? Okay, so, all right, so we're gonna work on a mandala. So let's go back to the gallery screen.
Okay.
It was a really weird noise just now happened. I don't know what that was. And then, oh, it's the trash. Click on plus, and I'm gonna use a square screen for a mandala. You can use either, but the square one kind of makes sense because it's around.
Okay.
Which one, Lynn?
Oh, square. Okay,
Square.
Got it.
And again, it just goes right to the edge, right? But you can pull it in so you can see black all around it if you wanted to. Can you see my where I have gallery? Can you see all of those functions? You can on my iPad?
Yes.
Oh, because I can't. My Zoom interface is on top of it. I was just wondering about that. All right, so now when we do a mandala, we want it to be symmetrical. So the first thing we want to do is click on the wrench. And now it brings up these functions here. And then we want to make sure that canvas is selected as blue. And then we want to click on drawing guide. Is everyone with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then edit drawing guide. I don't usually like the grid. So, and when you go to, you'll see what happens here. Now, so we've got 4 options: 2D grid, isometric, perspective, and symmetry. For a mandala, we want to use symmetry. I'm sorry, go back to 2D grid for a minute. See where it says assisted? Oh no, don't click that. Symmetry. Options. And at the bottom it says assisted drawing. I click on that because it basically stops it if your hand is shaky. It makes the line less shaky. And then we want radial. So it gives the option, 4 different options here. Vertical means that there's a line down the middle, and whatever we draw on the left will be duplicated on the right. So it'll be symmetrical, like a butterfly. Horizontal, same thing. Like a butterfly, symmetrical, they will be equal. Quadrant just is going to duplicate it in 4 different squares. And then radial is going to duplicate. So you could make a mandala out of the quadrant one. It would just only have 4 sections. Radial only get, the limit is 8. That's the only actually it's not even a limit. It's all that you can do. It's just the 8. And then those, what's that?
Pizza.
A pizza, yes. It's all about food. And then the lines, Steve, every time I do a live video, we talk about food. I don't know why. And we usually always talk about pizza. So the lines that are here are usually like you can change the color by, see the line that's across under the word drawing guides? If you click on any of those colors, it will change the color of those lines. But those lines are not going to show up on your final piece anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. So whatever you want that to be. So once that's selected, we can click on done. You got to click it twice.
Do we select rotational symmetry or?
No, that's another option. We're going to do another one like that.
Okay.
So click
Just
done.
radial.
Yeah, just radial for now, and then done again. I don't know why you have to click done twice. It doesn't give you like another thing to confirm, but you do. So now we want to choose our brush like we did last time. So I'm going to go with the Studio Pen. So I'm going to click on this brush. I'm going to bring it down to Studio Pen. Click off of this. I'm going to leave my brush size the way it was, 8% the default, and the opacity at, I believe, 80%, which is the default. And whatever you start from the middle is what's going to duplicate in each section. So the other thing that we want to make sure that we do too is we talked about the width of the line changing based on that pen. So if you hold it perpendicular, when I first started using this Procreate, one of the things I kept doing was not letting my hand rest on the actual screen. I don't know why. And I was like trying to draw like in the air. It was crazy. It was like I was trying to like get it to work. So finally I just decided that I was just going to treat it like a piece of paper and just leave it the way it was. So however you would hold your pen or pencil or whatever you're going to draw something with or even write with is how I'm holding this pen. So for this one, I don't want my line to be like, I don't want my pen to be on a 45-degree angle, but instead I want to start from the middle and let's just pull out halfway up that line. And see how everything just duplicated amongst those lines. So if I do it again, now it just pulled up. So I've got, it kind of looks like a little bit of a chain. If I come out and turn, it's meeting in the middle. See how that's just kind of meeting there? So just by pulling up on that line, you're making that straight line. But you could also, I'm going to keep changing screens here too, just to, as demonstration purposes. So do you see how that's working? It's just completing it. Now I can go back to this one and come down. Is everyone able to get it to duplicate in those 8 boxes? Or pies, pizza slices? Then I could actually go back into one of these spaces. So say this big space here, and I could create whatever shape I wanted in this, and it will duplicate in all of the rest. So whatever you're putting in the pizza slice is happening in every slice. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of this one and try another one. So I'm going to go back to the wrench. I'm going to save it. It will save it within Procreate automatically. So if you go back out to gallery, it'll be in your gallery. So if I just go back out to my gallery, what happened? Oh, I don't know what happened. There it is, as my untitled artwork. I'm going to click on that again, and I can go back to the wrench, and I can click share. And then I can click JPEG or wherever I want to click here, and then it will take you to your photo. This will save it into photos. Okay? So I'm going to go back out to gallery. I'm going to start a new blank canvas with my plus sign. Go to square. And we're going to do it again. So go back to the wrench. So now we need to get to the sections where we create that radial, the option to have a radial image. So there's canvas, drawing guide, edit drawing guide, and then go to symmetry, options. I've got assisted drawing click so that it doesn't have too much of a shaky line. And then radial. I'm leaving the color. I don't really care about the color of my guidelines. Click done twice and it brings us back to another blank screen. Now, you can click on layers for this too. So let's see what happens when we have layers. So again, our default layer is the background layer, which is the color. We could go back and put nothing there, but to me that's just too confusing. So I go back to the background color. I've got layer 1. Let's add, I don't know, let's add 3 layers in total to this. And then you can go back, and you can see here it says layer 1 is assisted, but layer 2 is not. So if I click on, this right here, click on layer 1, it'll tell me all of this information. Drawing Assist is selected. If I want Drawing Assisted to be selected for layer 2, tap on that twice and you can see that Drawing Assist is an option to select. So I'm going to tap on layer 3 twice. The panel comes up, Drawing Assist, and now I've got assisted for all 3 of my layers. So I'm going to start with layer 1, and that, because all of these have a check mark, layers 1, 2, and 3, and the background, we're going to see everything. But I'm going to flip off between them. So we're going to go back to the brush. I'm going to stay with my studio pen. And I'm just going to kind of make a circle. Go in a loop. So there's layer 1. Now, if I go back over to layer 2, it's still assisted. Go back over to my brush. Now, whatever I draw with layer 2, if I want to erase it, it's not going to make a difference with layer 1. So I could start here, and then I could say, oh, I don't like that. So I could either do undo, or, oh, not that great. Go back over to layer 2, make sure that's selected so you know it's there. My eraser, and erase what you just did. But it did not erase anything in layer 1. So you could have many, many different elements and pieces all just on top of each other. So the other thing too is that, do you see how, I don't know if you can move them in here though. Yeah, you can. Merge down. Okay. Oh no, that didn't do it. Never mind. That wasn't what I was looking for. Combine. All right, so that, see where it says combine, this is what I was looking for. Where it says combine down, the more layers you have creates a bigger file, the bigger the file becomes at the end. So if something has 25, I mean, there's some artwork that has hundreds and hundreds of layers. So if it has too many layers, the more layers it has, then the file size, as far as like the megabytes of it, let's hope it's not a gigabyte, but as far as the megabytes of it, will end up being bigger. So in order to get it to be smaller, when you look at this, here it is, where it says combine down, that in a computer would be called flatten the layers. So you're basically flattening them all into now one layer, and that reduces the file size. So which is important if you want to make sure that if you had something that had like 100 layers, then you would, and it became this huge file, then you would want to make sure that you can combine, you would flatten it. And even to save it like as a JPEG, sometimes you've got to flatten it. If not, it just becomes too big, because it's almost like every layer is its own file. So now we've got layer. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So now, what do you think, Lynn? Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So now we've got layer 3. And I'm going to add something to layer 3. Don't forget, I erased layer 2. So if I go back over and unclick layer 2, there's nothing to remove because there's nothing to see there. If I go back in and click off layer 1, I'm back to a blank canvas.
Oh, I combined them. I thought you said.
You can combine them if you want to. Or let's add another layer here for layer number 3. And I'm basically holding my pen perpendicular to this screen. I think that one thing that a lot of people do when they're using Procreate is they keep expanding. Like when Lynn said it's making me dizzy, they expand like this, so they get really into it, like close. I can't function like that. I mean, I think it's because I want to see the whole thing. I don't want to see. I mean, I could do it. That's good to clean it up, but when you're drawing something, I kind of want to see what's happening for the whole thing. So I just tend to keep it so that I can see all of it as I'm working on it, rather than just like zooming in. Because it does make you a little dizzy. So we can add another layer with layer number 4. We could change the color. So if you're on, here I am with layer number 4. I'm going to go back up to that little circle. Let's change it to hot pink. And then go back in with my studio pen brush. I'm on layer 4 now. And you can just add some pink. Now, if you see how it's just kind of like crossing. So I basically went across, but the lines are crossing, so they're getting thicker. But if I only go to the guideline, it's going to connect. So I have a color mandala in here actually that I did. This one right here. Where I only used one layer, but for each one or for each piece I was drawing, I started changing my colors as I was moving along.
Are those different layers and different colors?
No, it's only one layer.
Oh, you just.
I just use that as one layer. So now this one, we've got this layer 4. So just so we understand that we can click on that layer, layer number 4, and I want to erase it, but I'm not, it doesn't let me erase anything else. And I don't have to erase the whole layer. Maybe I just want to erase what I put in those little things right there. These little, these things. So let's try another one that has, where it's kind of like a free-form circle. So I've got my canvas that I've selected again. Well, I'm going to go back to gallery, I'm sorry. It just keeps doing this. Gallery recovery, I don't know why. I'm going to go back to square, gallery, drawing guide, edit, drawing guide, symmetry. You're going to be saying this as you're walking around all day today. Radial, done. Could be a song. Now I'm just going to take my pen, place it in the middle, and, oh, I need my brush. And that reminds me of a spire. Isn't that like a spirograph type thing? So just a... And literally, that is complete. which is crazy to me because, I mean, you could just basically kind of go like this. And that could be considered a finished, I mean, you can maybe finish it off a little bit, but add some things to it. So I guess the best thing to do is to just keep playing with it. And at first they kind of look like, wow, I'm just scribbling, but I mean, look at it. It's amazing. The other thing that it's going to do too is that it's going to save whatever you do as a video. If you go over to that wrench, the time-lapse recording is already happening by default. So it's going to do a recording of whatever you have been drawing.
Wait, how'd you get there?
If you go back over to the wrench
Yeah.
and click on video, you can see that the time-lapse recording has happened. Is already selected by default. And then you want to, if you can export time-lapse video, you can do either a 30-second one or a full-length one. And it'll just export it to whatever your, whatever the, where is it? Save video. There it is. So there's my save video. If I go back to photos, there it is. And there's the video. So now, we were talking about that other option too, Dawn had mentioned about rotational. Was it called rotational? Click on the, let's do another one. All right, so there's the plus size, there's the square. We're doing the same thing. We're going to the wrench. We're going back to the canvas. Drawing guide. Edit drawing guide. Symmetry. Options. Radial. Rotational symmetry. Done, done. So basically what it's doing is it rotates. See how that's, whatever I'm placing it, how it rotates it around? So it's expanding what's happening. The other thing that's happening is you can see up top, it's kind of saying, as I'm doing this, all of a sudden a little thing comes up that says polyline created. It's gone now, but where did it go? Let's try it again. So see how it's just kind of like rotating around? And then every once in a while that little thing pops up that says it says polyline or edit shape, and you can go back in and actually edit the shape. See how it's just twisting itself? I'm gonna try to get it to do that again. It didn't do it. See, it's just turning it into itself. That's, I don't really, I mean, it's similar to the other one, but see, there it is, line created. See how it says line created?
Yeah, and that, yeah, you gotta hold the
Yeah, but it doesn't happen, it only happens if it's really straight.
Yeah. Yeah, it straightens it out.
Or quadrilateral created. And then it starts bringing everything into itself. And then you can edit the shape. I mean, it's...
Yeah, it'll do it when you curve it, too.
Yeah.
It'll make it, the curve more even.
Right. It's like if you add on to, if you go into this section here and you click on where was it? What am I looking for here? I thought it said assisted drawing. Was it animation assist? No, not animation assist.
No.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Let me see if I can find it.
Oh no, it's assisted drawing. If you go to drawing guide and then down here. Assisted drawing, no, that's there. It's so that when you draw a line, it becomes straight. Like if you draw a circle, it automatically makes it straight, makes it a circle for you. Yeah, it's drawing guide. That's what it was. See where it says drawing guide right there? That's it. So if I draw a line, it makes it a line. So it's nice and straight. I don't really use that one. Reference just gives you this little box so that you can have like a little box that's up, that's there. And then this will allow you also to flip it, whether it's horizontal or vertical, which this is a square, so it does make a difference. The canvas information, if you click over here on this canvas information, it's basically telling you just what that whole setting is, like as far as the pixels, the dimensions, as far as the in inches, and then it gives you more information about layers. So this one is telling me that there's 59 layers that I can use. The only ones I'm available, the only maximum I can use is 60. So that'll just kind of give you that information. So if you were to actually go back now, so would anybody have any questions now about how the mandala function works as far as radial and rotational?
Nope.
No.
All right, so now if I go back into, how about you, Lynn?
Okay.
You're supposed to say your hair looks good. That's what you're supposed to say. When you don't know what the heck is going on. If you go over to paper, this is going to bring us our 8.5 by 11 inch paper. So let's just see what happens with the line drawing. Free form, nothing else happening. So I'm going to go back into my layers, and I'm actually working on a, I'll show you this one. I started working on, here it is, this coloring page. But my dog got a little off. His head kind of moved over as I was doing it. I gave up. I said, this is not working on my iPad. I went back to my pencil. The other one was this one. So this was similar to my little boxes one. Just, I drew the little boxes on there. But what I didn't do on this one is, well, here's all my layers. Because I wanted each one to be its own layer.
Okay.
So if I did make a mistake, for example, in another box, then I would know. So if you go back, let's go back to that blank page here. And I'm just going to use my studio pen. You okay, Lynn?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so again, whatever is on here. So whatever the topic. So I'm just going to start with this little flower here. Here, this is basically layer 1. I'm not lifting it off the screen. Maybe I want to go back to layer number 2, and I'll add my stem. I can add layer 3 for, say, the leaf. And I can even go back, say, layer number 4 becomes the inside of the leaf. I think that the key is to get familiar with the brush that you like. Does that, you know what I mean? So, and I'm gonna add a little bit
Yeah.
of speckle in here. It's like using a pen. You know, it's like
Yeah. You gotta get used to the one that you like.
yeah. So this one is a studio pen. If I went
This is
over,
one I usually use. Yeah.
do you use that one?
Yeah, I use that one.
I mean this Jasinski. I call it Jelinsky, but it's Jasinski. Gel pen isn't bad either, but again, it has like a Look how light it is. Look how like fine. Like I don't like that weight line anyway in a regular pen. And then the technical pen, it's okay, but it just doesn't. I feel like when I draw the line, it's completing it for me. It's as opposed to the studio pen. Does that make sense? Like the animation of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want it to do that. See how it just did that? Like if I go like this, as opposed to that. So for me, studio pen is more realistic. It mimics real life for me more than the other one.
Yeah, this is the one I found the best so far.
What do you think, Steve? What is your goal with using the Procreate, Steve?
I would like to get into KDP, maybe some coloring books or something.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, I think that the biggest advantage with using Procreate for a coloring book to create coloring pages versus drawing them by hand is it eliminates the scanning. So, we talked about that last week, right? Like, it completely eliminates that whole scanning process.
Right.
But then there are some times where you do need to clean it up. Like, I feel only because,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I just that's one thing that annoys me the most is, when the lines are just over or whatever, you gotta go back and clean it up. But
I don't even know what the heck is popping up on my screen. Evan hasn't missed a try. I don't even know what that is. All right, it's because it's an email. Yeah, when having to clean up the lines is incredible, you know?
yeah.
And I always start a coloring book I'm more comfortable starting it completely with a pencil. And just, you guys have seen me draw coloring books from a blank page where I just what the end result really looks nothing like what it does, but I'm not going exactly on top of what's happening. So, a mandala book is probably the simplest to create, or even using those different Procreate brushes, Steve.
Yeah, I've got quite a few mandalas done already.
Do you?
Yeah.
The Procreate brushes amaze me, and what I'd love to learn how to do is how to actually create my own brushes. Kristen Fry does a lot with creating Procreate brushes, mostly for lettering, though.
Yeah.
So
I tried creating a couple, but it didn't go too well.
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess if you have the actual drawing, it's like creating look at that. I just kind of added it. I didn't mean for that to happen, but there it is. It added it. So the line part of it, the line drawing part of it, let me just erase what's here. What I just did. But look, it didn't erase that one. It's because I'm not on that layer. So I guess what we want to remember from today is the layers and how the layers work and how to actually layer something. And see, I don't want that. What the heck? Because I'm not on the right brush. And what happens when you do the actual mandala when it becomes radial? So this gives me an opportunity to put this down here. The other thing too, Dawn, is that you could do something that's more of a sketch if you change the brush. Have you tried that at all?
I've tried that a little bit, and I don't remember what brushes I used, but yeah, I did try it.
Because I think this little pine one is very pencil-like. Look at this one.
Right, yeah, I've done it doing a pencil, I think, but it's just the idea is getting used to actually using the iPad pen.
Yeah.
And the feel.
On
the screen to be able to draw because it's so different.
I still prefer traditional. versus digital.
Yeah, so do I, but I'd really love to still.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, I'm open to both, but I like the feeling of the actual pencil in my hand. I like the feeling of the paint on my hands when it comes to painting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, same here.
I like the smell of it. Like, it's just a different experience.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it is.
I have a question.
Yes, Lynn.
Is there a way to put letters? I mean, is there like a font thing or?
It's another brush. It's not on, well, what's Elements? No, Elements is not that.
Yeah, calligraphy.
Calligraphy, you could make your own. So if you went to the calligraphy brush, you could make your own. So, for example, here's calligraphy. Here's a brush pen or script. And then we're just going to write. But you would have to actually write it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you want to import the actual font.
Right.
It would be a brush. So it would be a Procreate brush that you would have to create. That's an interesting set of brushes to create, actually.
Yeah, that would be.
You can't buy it.
What's that, Lynn?
You can't buy it.
I don't know if that would be.
I think that
I don't have good handwriting, so
you don't have good handwriting.
no.
Those medical people would never have good handwriting. Why is that?
Well, so you can defend yourself.
So you could. Is that why? I don't know. My signature has gotten pretty bad over the years. Especially when you have to sign it. Well, forget when you have to sign it like on a pad. Like in a store. I mean, you don't even have to do anything except put a line. And it'll just recognize it. Pretty scary, but... So what, any questions, Steve?
No. Well, maybe about the lettering. I mean, you said there's no font.
There's no font in Procreate for lettering, but you can either buy a Procreate letter font, like a Procreate brush that would be letters, or you could download some free ones. One of the websites that you can buy Procreate brushes from is called Creative Market. They have a lot of them, actually. I was looking on that yesterday. Because sometimes I'll buy extensions for Adobe Illustrator on there. And then it'll allow me to create mandalas using Adobe Illustrator. But there's some brushes there in Creative Market. And I don't really know the prices. They're all over the place. But there's a lot of freebies. There's a lot of free brushes. And the other person that I might have brushes for letters is Kristen Fry. When I send an email out with the link to today's video as a replay, which let me just check something. I will I'll send a link to Kristen's information too, because she has a lot of information.
Okay.
All right. So next time we meet is on August 11th, I believe, right?
Oh, the summer's going so quickly.
Isn't it crazy?
Yes.
Can you believe it? I just set up all the event pages for Color Along Volume 17, and I was in January of 2022.
Wow.
It was kind of scary. Yeah, I think we meet on August 11th, right? August 11th, and then the 20... I could get up.
No,
I could get up and look.
oh wait, it's on the first thing.
On the 11th and the 25th. Okay. So, and we're painting a landscape on that day. So that'll allow us to use a lot of different brushes. Texture, whatever, I mean, all of the different brushes that are
That'll
here.
be cool.
That'll be cool. So, and just kind of playing with them.
I gotta figure out how to put Zoom on my computer. Can't seem to find it. use the regular Zoom on my computer so I can use my iPad, because I'm going back and forth on the iPad from you to.
Oh, you just have to download like a Zoom app on your computer.
What kind
When you
of
go to
Zoom
Zoom,
app?
you have to click on download Zoom or something.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
I was looking in the App Store, so.
No, just go right to Zoom on
Okay,
the website.
All right,
So
I got it. I'll get that done then.
some of the examples too for paint, I mean, some of the paintings could be as detailed as this. I can't do a painting like this on digitally yet. So
That would be something.
isn't that amazing? And there's a few
Yeah.
different artists that I can give you some links to. That matter of fact, do I have the? I thought I had the book with me right here. I guess I don't.
Now you can draw the big shapes that you want to paint, right? And then print it out.
Yeah, you can draw them so you can actually either import a template like we do with a regular painting, or you can go on add a whole bunch of layers. Like for instance, let me show you this one. Where is it? Is it this one that I have layers? Yes. So this one, if I get rid of all these layers,
Oh, and you have a template.
all right? So there's my sketch.
Right.
There's my sketch of whatever this was. That's why I had done this, was just like as an example of what this, I did it quick as a quick sketch. And then if I go back to layer number 2, now I've added my sky. Layer number 3, now I've added a little bit more blue. But that layer number 1 becomes my sketch. And then at the end, let's get all of these back on here. And I'll get rid of my sketch.
Oh.
So the line drawing is gone of what was there.
Oh, cool.
Does that make
All right,
sense?
cool.
Or if I put it back.
Yeah.
Steve, do you paint? No, I've dabbled in charcoals in the past and pencil drawings, but
How about painting? Not painting?
no, never did any painting. Always
Um,
wanted to do watercolors, but never got around to it.
well, when we do the that 3-day workshop next weekend, the last day is a painting on canvas, and we'll do this type of system where we've got a template, we'll transfer it to canvas, and then we'll paint based on that. So you're basically transferring that template and making it so that you can now use it as like the blocks of shapes is what it ends up becoming. It's just purely a guide. But I'll send you some links. There's a couple of different artists. One of them is Gerhard Mantz, who lives in Germany, and he has some incredible paintings that are done digitally. He used to use a Wacom tablet. I don't know if he uses Procreate now. There's another artist, Peter McLean, and then there's this museum actually called the Museum of Digital Art, and they actually have some incredible artists that people that display. Another one was J.D. Jarvis. He lives in Arizona. And what they can do with Gerhard Mantz is just, you would never believe that it was digital. A few of the others you're kind of like, yeah, it is, but maybe not. So we'll take a look at digital painting for painting a landscape, and then the next week for painting a still life, and being able to sketch and all of that. I'll give you guys a template for that last one, for the landscape, and then we can import it into it. So I'll email it to you when I email the information from today.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Not this time.
How about you, Lynn?
No.
Okay. All right, so I'll send you an email with the replay on. It's on the YouTube link as an unlisted video, so anyone who has um the link can see it. Just everyone in this class, and then that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope it was informative and not too confusing.
Yeah. I'll try and remember next time.
You know, somewhere I have to find them, but I do have notes, have like a list of those steps. I thought I had them next to me, but I don't. The steps of when you go to the mandala, when I kept clicking like wrench, drawing guy, like I did it so many times that now I just do, but I was following at the very beginning. I just followed all that. So I have that. I've got to find that, and I'll share that with you.
I think I downloaded those.
Yeah, I mean, you can Google a lot of stuff. I guess what I didn't like with a lot of the videos too was that they were just like zipping through so fast and making the screen bigger, making it smaller, and you know what I mean? Like when Lynn said it's making me dizzy. Like, I don't know what brush I just clicked on here, but testillated. That would make a good background, actually, wouldn't it, for a coloring page if the opacity was changed and then you lettered on top of it?
Yeah.
So, and even you can make it even bigger, like as far as like expanding the actual lines. Well, that would be kind of cool. All right, everyone. I will see everyone in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks,
See you
Lynn.
later.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Steve. We'll see if I can actually turn this off today. Because I don't know how I got here. I got to unmake Lynn the host here.
Got it.
Oh, I don't know how to even do that.
Oh, maybe I have to end the meeting.
Can you make me the host?
I don't know.
I think you have to end it. Okay.